And welcome to another star-studded edition of Top of the Pops. This is my friend Mike Smith.
And we got bands from all over the place tonight. Scottish bands, Welsh singers, and of course the London lads. Here is Modern Romance.
There you go. Can you hear me? No? What's happening here?
Hey, good morning.
Hang on, let me just turn up some stuff. One sec.
Let's see. There we go. Okay. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, good. All right. Let me make sure everything's up and running all right. All right. Well, let's see. So it's 10 o'clock in the morning there. It's 3 o'clock in the morning here.
Well, this is the way things go. When you're an international interviewer like you are, then what can I say?
It's all just part of the game, you know. How are you?
Yeah, I'm not too bad actually. Not bad. I was in the middle of some DIY to a little while ago. I did it yesterday, and I was painting, and I thought I'd do another coat this morning, and I did a little bit, and I thought, well, I haven't got time to finish it, so I just left it. I thought I'd go back later and do it.
Nice. What are you painting?
I'm painting the doors of I took them off, but I'm painting the doors of my outdoor kitchen.
Oh, okay.
To make them all blend in with everything in the garden. So I took them in the house to do it because it's just warmer and nicer, and they're a dry cooker as well.
Cool. I've
got an outdoor kitchen kind of barbecue area. It's all covered. So I did a barbecue when it was absolutely chucking it down, and people went, well, how are you going to do it? I said, don't worry, come round. I said, the weather doesn't bother me now. Come round. And I've got this thing outside. It's all covered. And it's great. It's something I started during lockdown. I did the first part of it. And then I did the second part where I decided, well, I've done a barbecue area, but I need a fridge and a freezer and then oven and a dishwasher. So they're all out there now. Sort of, it's almost fixed. Yeah.
Awesome.
So the idea is you cook. This is something I wanted to do for years. And I thought, why do people do this? We have a barbecue and you lug everything from the house outside, all the crockery and everything, and then you have to take it back inside to wash it. And it's like, what a pain. I thought, no, now everything can stay outside. So we have a barbecue, it goes in the dishwasher, we go inside, I go up to bed, switch it on, come back in the morning, unload it, put it in the cupboards, nothing goes in the house.
Very Very cool. That makes total sense to me.
Yeah.
Do you do a lot of barbecuing then?
Greek Cypriots, we love our Greek barbecues. So it's like massive chunks of lamb and pork and all these other little spicy little sausages and all these things that we do. So yeah, we can get it actually.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. I was trying to think, actually I was talking with one of my best friends earlier. I was trying to remember, it's been a little over, actually it's been almost, no it has, it's actually been just about a year since we were on last.
Yeah.
I remember Halloween was coming up and we talked a little bit about Halloween last time. So it has been a year. Okay. Wow. And what a year it's been. A lot has changed on this end. What's actually, how about we get started with the interview and I'll just introduce you.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay.
People know who we're hanging out with. Hey guys.
I love the pictures of the cats behind you. Who did those? Yeah, I love it.
Speaking of painting, actually, Andy, right about the time we talked last year, I just started painting. I was working on a restoration project of some of my dad's rocking horses from his company way back in the day. And I haven't stopped. Actually, I've been selling paintings as I've gone. I left Washington on September 1st. So the state that I grew up in and was born in and all that, I can't afford to live in anymore. And so I headed south, and I'm now in New Mexico.
Wow.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's go ahead. Actually, let me get another drink of coffee. I'll tell you, yes, I realize international interviewer my foot. But I do put it out there to my special guests that I'll work around you regardless of what time of day. So I need to remember that. Anyway, no, thank you very much for putting some time aside. I totally appreciate
My
it.
pleasure. But the thing is, go on. Well, my brain's just thinking. I wrote a children's book for 1996, 97.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's in my mind, it's the first in a series of books. You can do a whole series.
Okay.
First one I've done is the one where you introduce all the characters. And the characters are cats.
Really?
Now, somebody who does cartoons for the Evening Standard or one of the, I can't remember which paper it is, but somebody who does cartoons for one of the big newspapers here,
Okay.
might be the Guardian, initially drew some pictures for me, which
Yeah.
I still got. And I said, if I ever publish it as a book, I'll use these pictures. That I wanted the picture of the main character, the main cat. He drew
Right.
some pictures for me. I've kept them in a file, and I've never done anything with it because it's one of those things where I just haven't had time, so I'm doing music. And
Right.
I'd love to do something with it. And it's always been at the back of my mind. One day I'm going to do something with that. One day I will. I think it's a great, I mean, I know I'm biased because I wrote it, but I think it's a great idea and a great way to introduce young children to modern, not just modern society because they're within the society, but modern issues like as opposed to the fireman just being a fireman, to
Right.
find out how the fire service works, but in a
Right.
childish way so they understand it. To
Okay.
find out how what the police do in the community, not just policemen. They don't just arrest the baddies, but they do other things and
Right.
all different issues. And so each book could be about, this
Okay.
character
Okay.
meets PC Plod, whatever.
Right. Right.
And I've never done anything with it because, as I said, I've been too immersed in music and doing stuff. But having seen the cats, I think I like that. They're a bit aristocratish.
Very.
Yeah, but I sort of thinking, I wonder if I could sit with you one day and chat about the character. Just to have a cat that's. I want this to be, like Paddington Bear. You know who Paddington Bear is?
With the hat and the range.
Yeah. Everyone knows who he is straight away.
Right.
Everyone knows who he is straight away.
Right.
Kermit the Frog. Everyone knows straight away who Kermit is, or Miss Piggy.
Right.
I want this cat to be instantly recognizable that when they see him, there's Humphrey, not just a cat.
Okay.
Or, for example, not just a teddy bear. You know it's Paddington Bear. You know it's Rupert. You know it's whatever.
Right. Right.
So, that's something we could maybe chat about another time when we're not doing this.
Well, yeah, I would be totally interested in that actually. Usually for me, when somebody, because I'll do commission paintings, and when somebody gives me an idea, it's usually a matter of seconds, and I already know what it is that I want to do. Whether it comes close to the finished product or not, and all that. Everywhere back in the 60s and 70s. Andy, I'd totally be down for that. So let's plan on doing that here in the near future then. Whether you reach out to me or vice versa. Yeah. Touch base with you about that. All right. I thought my cousin Robin was going to be on with us this morning, but she must be sawing logs, and that's totally fine. Hey guys, you are watching Convos here on the Groove Zone Network. I'm DJD Phoenix, coming to you out of New Mexico this morning, and with me, I've got the pleasure of getting a chance to hang again for a little while with Andy KYRIACOU of Modern Romance. Andy, how are you?
Oh, well, thank you. And it's so nice. You actually said the name correctly, KYRIACOU. I get so many variations, but yes.
I went over and over that in my head earlier today, and I'm like, I really do know how it's pronounced. So let's pronounce it right. It's like, yeah. How are you?
Oh, well, thank you. Very well. How about you?
Good. I'm doing well. We were just talking a minute ago. It's been about a year since you were on the show with us last time. And I'm imagining, and even from seeing some of your posts on the social network, it's been a pretty busy year again for you.
It has been pretty busy. It's very nice to be busy because we're still feeling the effects, I think, of COVID. People are still tentative when it comes to booking shows and will people come, and have people got the money now as well? Because it's not a case of will people. I think people have gotten over that initial fear of, oh, we're going to go and get COVID. I don't think people are worried about that anymore. It's more a case of do we have the money? Because so many things have happened financially throughout the world, and everyone's being affected. So you've got people saying, well, do I really want to pay this much money to go to a concert when I really have to feed my kids or do so? Totally understandable. So, and then of course the promoters are thinking, well, am I going to fill this venue? Or am I going to, make a loss on this? So everyone's still being a bit tentative, but there is work. We're getting there. Everyone's kind of breathed a sigh of relief. I know I have, because financially it was a dire time. So it's nice to look back on last year and this year so far. We're nearly at the end of the year and go, well, actually, we're on the right track. We're as close to back to normal as you could be,
Right.
Which is great.
And I think that's kind of how it is across the board for most artists. I know some artists are a lot busier and definitely more steady, almost on a weekly basis, just getting it out there, trying to, either regain some finances or whatever. But you mentioned something a minute ago, though, too, which is, the way that COVID affected everything. I remember conversations that I was having with some of our guests where we were still at that point where nobody knew when the venues were going to open back up, if they would open back up. So the fact that we're where we are now, really says a lot. But you're right, though, because venue owners are still kind of at that point where it's like, we can't fill a stage. Acts. So, what's the next step? Modern Romance, though, like you guys, you were able to kind of jump on some of the different 80s retro festivals, though.
Yeah.
Okay, and I think that probably has helped a little bit. What's one of your latest shows?
We've got one coming up not this weekend, the following weekend.
Okay.
We're doing 80s weekend as a holiday place. I don't know if you know it, called Butlins.
Okay.
And they have 80s weekenders. They do 70s as well with different things, but it's taken off in a massive way in these places. They have the whole weekend. People pay to go and stay there the whole weekend, and you'll get Tony Hadley and Nick Kershaw on Friday, and then Modern Romance and Tapao on Saturday, and then someone else on Sunday.
Okay.
So you pay for the whole weekend. And you'll get known DJs as well, DJing in between. So the whole weekend's one big party, one big 80s fest.
How cool.
And it's great. I mean, they're great. They're absolutely brilliant fun. They're just as much fun in it, but in a different way to the festivals, because people are there for the weekend, for the whole weekend, and what we choose to do is we stay overnight. They give us accommodation, and the accommodation is quite nice. So it's lovely to stay. But what we tend to do is, because we stay overnight, we go and have breakfast in the morning with the public, which is always a shock, because they're like, "But you were performing last night, yeah? Oh, you're having breakfast with us? Oh, you know." And we just sit and chat to people and have breakfast, and it's fantastic. And then we leave. It's great.
Right, right.
But these shows are very lucrative for Butlins. That's why they put them on. They obviously do very well.
Right.
You know, it's a great thing to be a part of. They're really, really good.
I'll bet. And I would imagine that the atmosphere backstage has to be totally fun, being able to catch up with some of these friends from years ago, maybe that you haven't gotten a chance to see in a while. Just being on that kind of a lineup too, you know, because back in the day, speaking of filling stadiums, every single one of those artists that you just mentioned filled stadiums. You know, it might have been a while, but I think that's one of the reasons why I think that it's so cool that the whole 80s retro thing has seen that full-on resurgence. Who know who the artists are.
Yeah, no, there are. I mean, I'm often, when I'm on stage and looking out, and even, but especially at the festivals and these 80s things, you get kids that, well, say kids, you get people that are like 24, 25, and you can see them mouthing, they're singing the songs, and you think, well, how do you know this? You weren't even born when this was out. But obviously they've been brought up on 80s music from their parents, just like my kids. My kids know 80s music inside out, you know.
Right.
And obviously they know all the today stuff, but they know all the 80s stuff because they're brought up on it and they actually like it as well. So I can see how that filters through to the kids.
No doubt. Well, you know, when it comes, I don't know, I think some of us are a bit biased, but when it comes to like the whole 80s and new wave and alternative realm, I think we kind of felt like we were the cool kids. You know, our music was better than the generation before, and you know, it would definitely be better than anything still to come. And you know, modern romance is definitely in that.
I have to say, for me, it's a 50-50 split, because I was brought up I started going out in the 70s.
Right.
And the whole 70s music scene, especially when the soul and the disco explosion, I was a big soul fan, massive, still am. So when that thing kind of took off and I was listening to it and I was in the clubs and dancing away and listening to all these songs, they had a special place for me, always has, always will do. But then obviously the 80s are special because I was part of the 80s. I was part of that whole thing. So for me, it's a split between the two. Although I have to say, the one thing about the 80s that makes it unique and makes it stand out from the 70s is that in the 70s, the music was fantastic. Some of the music was awesome. You know, you can go anywhere from the Bee Gees, Santana. There was just so much going on. The whole soul explosion, disco explosion.
Yep.
Some great sort of you know, avant-garde music that was happening at the time. The thing about the 80s music had a face, and I say that in that bands that you didn't even like or weren't even sure about, but you knew what they looked like, because the 80s had more of an image when it came to the music. Now, I look at musicians now, I look at bands, and I kind of think most of them all look the same.
Right.
And for example, you've got bands like in the later stage, you've got Busted, McFly, and some of the stuff my kids listen to, which is great music. Don't get me wrong, music is fantastic. I was listening last night. My son's had a playlist going while he was cooking in the kitchen.
Okay.
I was painting in the living room, put some stuff into paint. So I'm listening to his playlist, and I thought, bloody hell, there are some great songs here. But all those bands, if you looked at them and said, well, unless you actually were a fan of that band, if you looked at them and said, well, which band's he in, which, well, I don't know. But if you looked at members of bands, like if you looked at, if someone said, look, here's a band, here's a bunch of people dressed like this, and there's a bunch of people dressed like this, which band would you put this person in? You'd go, well, he's in that band because he's got that image, they've got that image.
Right.
Now, and I know the image isn't image should not be what sells a band, but it does, because we judge and we look at people and we are attracted to a look. And it's just nice to, if you've got something that makes you stand out aesthetically. We don't have that these days very often.
Right. Okay, what's wrong with my thing? Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you, but you've done a very Marcel, you're just standing there. Oh, there, you're moving now. There you go.
Good. Got a little concerned there. I got frozen there for a second, and I don't know why. Okay. Yes, we are attracted to image. As soon as you said that, the first thing that I thought about was Duran Duran.
Yep, suits. That whole look, yeah.
Totally. But then again, though, for that matter, Modern Romance were some pretty sharp dressers themselves.
Thank you. Yeah, we had our moments.
Oh yeah. I don't remember. I want to say, was it High Life? There was one of the videos that you guys did, and I believe that you're all dressed in silver suits.
Silver suits, yeah. That's
okay,
it.
Yeah, and you're running down the stairs, and you know, as a music fan, especially at that point in time, it totally takes me back to that whole heyday of the early to mid '80s when it was just like one big effing party. And that, you know, the atmosphere and everything, and I think for me and for so many of my friends in our generation, it was so bright and so different, and so, but at the same time, cutting edge. You know, regardless. I still remember Modern Romance, and I think one of the things, and we might have hit on this last time we talked, but you guys never quite broke the states in the way that a lot of other bands did. And I don't know, it seems to me that when you and I talked last time, I think that it might have had something to do maybe with the timing, possibly. But I know that the band itself, especially back at that point in time, though, was going through an awful lot of not only lineup changes, but there was a lot of like members leaving. There was some kind of messed up, I think, legal situations happening. So the fact that flash forward 35, 40 years and you are, you know, carrying on the banner, that says something, because the band could have just, you know, gone the way of a lot of other artists, but it didn't.
There was only one band member that left, actually, at that time.
Oh, okay.
Only one left. Ironically, and for me, this is kind of like, this is an anomaly, because I don't know of any other band whose lead singer left to be replaced, or I will say, by a much, much, much better singer. But I don't know of any other band whose singer left overnight, all of a sudden, big fallout, he left, and no one noticed. I think back about it now, and I mean, I'm sure last time we spoke about the fact that I've written a book based on my diaries, and in my diaries, there's no mention of the fact that there is a mention of the fact that he left. Yes, there's no mention of the effect. Nobody. We had a fan club. Loads of people, would phone up the record company, and the own fan club and everything going on.
Right.
I remember any kind of furore around. Oh well, he's left. What's going to happen with it? He left straight away. We got the singer that was our backing singer got promoted to lead singer because he was fantastic.
Okay.
And we went on to bigger and better success, and no one even noticed that he'd left. And I think that's fantastic. That's brilliant.
Yeah.
But that was the only change. And
okay.
As I said, we went on to bigger and better things. And because he was, ironically, talking about the 70s soul thing, because when he was doing the backing vocals and we would get to chat, I realised this guy's an Earth, Wind and Fire fan. He loves Marvin Gaye. These are things when he joined the band as lead singer, we were all of a sudden able to do B-sides, which would be like Abraham, Martin and John, Tracks of My Tears, stuff like that. We do all these soul things that no one ever knew we could do, because musically we can do them, but you have to have a vocalist who can carry it.
Right.
And all of a sudden, this guy, there he was doing these songs. I thought, for me, it was great.
Wow.
So we did like a version of Band of Gold for a film that was
my favorite. Party.
Yeah. We would never have been able to do that with the other singer. Absolutely no chance on this earth. Yeah.
Isn't that something? And that was actually that particular track is still one of my ultimate Modern Romance favorites. But I'm surprised that one didn't do a lot better, whether it had been here in the States. Frida Payne did an amazing version of that, but I'll tell you, for a remake, you guys just totally rocked it.
Do you know what? It's funny because I've never looked at it like that. I've never looked at it as, what a great remake. It was just we were asked to do it for this film. We did it, And funny enough, you're the second one in probably the last month, second person who said, "Oh yeah, Bandit Gold." What? You actually know it? And yeah, of course we know it. It's a great track.
Oh yeah.
Okay, I'm quite shocked.
So yeah, by still actually, like, it doesn't even there is no comparison really between that and the original. But you mentioned something a minute ago that so some of the other ones like Tracks of My Tears and the other one you just mentioned, are those available on releases somewhere?
Abraham Martin and John.
Yeah.
I could send that to you. Actually, I've got it.
Yeah, I'd love that. I'd love to hear that.
We didn't. It wasn't Tracks of My Tears. It was the other one. Did Just My Imagination, not Tracks of My Tears. Just My Imagination.
Right.
Copy of.
Oh my God.
I can send you these. I know I meant to when we spoke last time, and I haven't forgotten. There's been so much going on, but I will definitely send them.
Okay, and I can always remind you.
In actual fact, I'll do it today.
Okay, yeah, because otherwise it'll be next year before we think about it again. And I do remember you were talking last time about the whole 60s thing, because that was something else that we had in common, because you were a little bit more like soul, like Motown 60s, 70s, and I was definitely like that early 70s, that whole kind of like Bobby Womack and my absolute favorites. There's just so much of that like funk and soul. Being a kid in the suburbs of Seattle, Washington, growing up, that I'll tell you, my heart, I've got such an affection for that. You also mentioned disco, because they're definitely, Modern Romance definitely has disco elements throughout the whole thing. That whole salsa, upbeat dance. I wouldn't necessarily call it disco, but it was played in the discos, though.
Yeah, I definitely had that element going through it. In actual fact, one of the reasons why I joined Modern Romance, and I don't know if this came up in the previous conversation, but my first encounter with Modern Romance, I didn't actually see them play. I walked into the Blitz, which is the club that all the
right.
I walked into the Blitz, and it was 11 o'clock at night, and there were people were still there drinking or whatever, but a band had just finished playing.
That's right. Okay.
Yeah, and I didn't realize it was more. I didn't know who they were. They weren't famous. But one of the reasons I went over and started to speak to them is I turned around to this guy, this random guy that was just sitting down. And I said to him, "Oh, sorry, mate." I said, "What was the band like?" Because I was disappointed that I'd missed a live band. I love watching live bands.
Right.
And I said, "What was this band like?" And he said, "Oh, yeah, they were really good." He said, "They were pretty funky." And that word, I thought, oh. So I went over to speak to them and have a chat, because I was in between bands. So I was looking for a spot anyway. Went over to chat to them to see if they know anyone that needs a drummer. Because at the time I was drumming, not singing.
Right.
And I mean, the whole thing began from there. They called me a few days later. "Do you want to come and play percussion?" I went, "Yeah, okay, then might as well." And then before I got to play anything or see them, they phoned back again and said, "Actually, you used to be the drummer of a band called Rocker G that I played in London. It was a bit of a cult band. It was known in London, and all the musos knew us. So you were the drummer of Rocker G?" "Yeah, okay." So he said, "Do you want to be our drummer?" And I said, "Well, hang on. You've got a drummer." I spoke to him and gave him my number. "That's how you got my number to ring me and say, come and play percussion." No. We've wanted to get rid of him for ages. We were just looking for someone. he's on the way out anyway. And I said, well, I can't take the guy's job. They said, well, if you don't, someone else will. So you might as well. Okay, then, but that goes back to the original origins of the story. The word funky is why I both of them. And when I went to see them, there was a kind of raw energy and there was a very funky feel. And that came primarily from the guitarist, Paul.
Okay.
He had kind of funky kind of thing going about him. And I was like, yeah, I like that, yeah. And that's what drew me to it. So I'm into that whole funk thing, yes.
Okay. What a chance, like 1 in a million chance meetings that was between you and the band, though. For it to be, especially because of the fact your timing couldn't have probably been worse that night initially, just because of the fact that you'd already missed the band. You didn't get a chance to see him play after all. But had it not been for your timing, though, we wouldn't be having this conversation more than likely.
Absolutely. No, listen, my life would have been completely different because it's one of those sliding doors moments. Because if there's so many variables as well. I said to my friend that night, where should we go? And normally it'd be this club, this club. It could be any club. We were clubbing. I was clubbing every single night of the week, every night without fail. And this particular night, I said, oh, should we go down to the Blitz? Yeah, let's go to the Blitz, see what's going on. Had we not gone there, had he decided, had he been ill that night, had I decided I'll just stay home. So many things. I've gone to a different club. I, as you said, arrived at a different time, heard them play, but then I probably wouldn't have gone up to speak to them. It's only because they were packing up, and I thought, well, I'll go and chat to them and see if they know anyone that's,
Right.
There's needs a drummer that plays their kind of music. Because I said, oh, do you know anyone that plays your kind of music that was a drummer? Because I'm into funk and soul and, so it's just one of those things. You kind of think if that hadn't happened, I mean, so many things. I wouldn't have met 2 members of the royal family throughout my life. I wouldn't have gone to Buckingham Palace.
Oh, yeah.
I wouldn't have met all the people that I met, Elton John, Rod Stewart, all these people. I would never have met any of these people. I mean, having said that, you kind of think, well, you might have gone out a week or a year later and bumped into Freddie Mercury and joined Queen, for example. Who knows, right?
Right.
But having said that, before the Modern Romance thing, I don't know if I mentioned this to you before. I was asked to join a band called Headquarters. They were a soul band.
Okay.
All like local guys, all young black guys, very trendy, very hip. They've asked me, this white guy, they auditioned me. One of the biggest compliments to join the band. As far as I'm concerned, one of the biggest compliments, a bunch of guys that are into their soul music, is inbred, it's them, the black guys, they've got the soul scene. And a guy turned around and said to me, he goes, do you know what? He said, I couldn't believe it. He said, for a white guy, you're really funky. I went, yes, I've arrived.
Yeah. That is a compliment.
Yeah.
It's like, because soul is just, I mean, I think it's just part of their fiber. It's part of their makeup. And, so yeah, you get complimented on whether it's your taste in that music or, as a DJ, if you kind of gravitate towards that, or as a musician, you play that. Yeah, you get complimented, in that respect. And it is a definite compliment. I see where we've got just a little bit over 7 minutes. Once again, I do want to thank you for your time. We will, before we kind of start to wind down here, we'll definitely touch base again here soon, so we can talk some more about the illustrations and stuff about your project. Getting back to the interview at hand, though, what's in store? You said that here in about another week or so, you've got another one of the 80s festivals coming up. Beyond that, what does the winter look like for Modern Romance?
Well, after that, I'm going to, about a week later, I'm going to Scotland to finish some recordings that I've started and kind of left because things have been going on, and we have to finish it right. Okay, so I've booked to go to Scotland on the 13th of November. That's already booked.
Cool.
Go and spend a few days, finish off the bits I'm doing up there, and make a plan for next year for songs to be released and stuff.
Nice. So that means that there are some Modern Romance releases coming up.
Oh, yes. Yes. Yeah.
Awesome. How long has it been since anything was put out?
Oh no, I put something out 2023. We put something out in 2023, right at the beginning.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, actually you did.
Track called Daya.
Okay.
and
Okay.
it got tipped as it was the top tip on Amazon of the new Latin releases.
Okay.
I was like, oh, I like that. Yeah,
Awesome. And that can be heard where? I mean, it's obviously out.
it's on, it's on Spotify and all the
Okay.
platforms. It's called
Okay.
Yaya.
So,
Um,
guys, yeah, before I forget, don't forget you can find actually if you put modern romance in your browser, otherwise you might want to put modern romance things that are modern because otherwise you get a
books and stuff, and
exactly. Put in modern romance band on your browser, and it'll take you to a bunch of the YouTube stuff that's out there. But Andy's got a bunch of stuff out there that's definitely worth checking out. If you're not that familiar with the band, this is a perfect time. There's a lot out there to be able to research and enjoy. I didn't realize, or maybe I did. Yeah, I did too realize you were on Spotify. That's right. But they can check that out as well. Okay, so that's okay. So new stuff coming up later this year or this next year, I guess. Let's do a word to the world, Andy. We've got people that are tuning in tonight from who knows, Papua New Guinea, who possibly, what would your message be to anybody that's watching today?
do you know what? I've only got one message after everything that we've gone through, and I think, do you know what? Why can't we all just be nice? Really, just be nice to everybody. I'm talking about world leaders. Stop all the crap. Be nice to everybody. Stop trying to do one-upmanship on everyone, and just get on with each other. It's just like after all we've been through, the pandemic and people losing this person and that person, and people dropping like flies because of this stupid like virus. Why can't we just go, do you know what? That was a wake-up call. Let's enjoy life. Let's just enjoy life because it's very short. Let's just do what we want to do. Have fun with the people you love. And that's how I live my life. I won't spend any time with people that I don't get on with because, oh, you should do. No, I don't. I don't care if you're related to me. If I don't like you, I'm not going to get on with you. I'm not going to spend time with you. I'm going to spend time with the people I love, that I respect, whether they be friends, relatives. And because I would hate to think that the last thing I did before something happened, before I died, in an accident or naturally, whichever the case is, I spent the night nodding and saying, yeah, isn't it lovely? Yeah, spending time with people that you don't really want to be with. No, I want to spend time with people I do want to be with, that I love and have time for. So if anything happens to me, at least the last thing I did was spend time with these people, with my kids, with my friends, with anyone. So, and that's how I live my life. And I just think everyone should just do what they want to do, obviously without hurting other people. Just do what they want to do, get on and make an effort to not be so horrid. As I said, there's so much one-upmanship, and who cares? There's so much one-upmanship. Who cares who's done this and that? Do what you want to do. Enjoy your life. And just get on with it, and don't be so horrid. That's my message. Stop being horrible and just get on with each other.
Oh my gosh, there's some world leaders that I hope are really watching this tonight. Is all I can say. Will it make any difference? Hard to say, but
No.
and yeah, I mean, wishful thinking is that we'd actually have it today, or live in a place like that. Maybe someday. But then again, though, maybe someday, other things will happen too. Maybe there will be world peace. Guys, you've been watching Convos here on the Groove Zone Network. I'm DJ D Phoenix coming to you out of New Mexico. I've been hanging for a while tonight with Andy KYRIACOU of Modern Romance. Andy was able to put aside a little bit of time. I'm going to just say right now that I think one of these days here in the somewhat near future, hopefully before a year passes, we should go for round 3.
Absolutely, yeah. Whatever you want.
Every time that we talk, it's like we're just starting to get into it, and then that buzzer goes off, and next thing you know, we're having to call it a day. So,
well, listen, for your future, I'm a night bird. So if you wanted to do 2-3 o'clock my time, I'm up at that time anyway. I went to bed at 3:30, 4 o'clock this morning. Yeah, our time.
Not a problem. And we can trade off.
Yeah.
You bet. All right. So with that being said, okay, I know I already asked you for a word to the world, but you want to do any shout outs to anybody real quick? Any last yoo-haws?
Not really. My only shout out is I hope that all the people that are suffering in the world, I hope it stops soon because it's horrible. That's the only shout out, because the shout outs to people that are driving their cars and no, let's not do that. Let's do the shout outs to the people that are suffering and say, I hope it all stops for you. That's my shout out.
No doubt, because life is too short. What else is too short? Unfortunately, this show. So don't go anywhere, guys. We'll be right back after this. DJ D Phoenix with Andy KYRIACOU of Modern Romance. We'll be right back. Andy, thank you so much.
My pleasure. See you later, everybody. Have a good day.
All right, on behalf of him.